Hello YouTube, Scamp the Wolf here, and we're going to be taking a look at my CD collection of the band The Contortionists. Now, I'm currently having problems with the focus, so please forgive me if the camera goes blurry at this section. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. But anyway, The Contortionists, one of my favorite progressive metal bands. Got into them in 2019, and I actually managed to get all their CDs, so recently. Like, I managed to complete the collection recently, so we're going to be taking a look at all of them. So without further ado, let's begin. First up, we have Exoplanet. This is their debut album, and it was one of two with their original vocalist. Michael Lesser, the current vocalist, didn't step in until Language. So, this is their previous vocalist. Sorry. But, here you have all the stuff in here. Track listing on here. You have songs like Flourish, Expire, Axiom, Oscillator, and of course you have the Exoplanet trilogy here. Egress, Void, and Light. I'm a person that prefers the Contortionists' later albums than their first two, but, you know, Exoplanet I think is still pretty good for what it is. And there's a lot of people that like it too, so that's Exoplanet by the Contortionists. Next up we have Intrinsic, which is their second album, and again, it's pretty good. I think I like this better than Exoplanet, but there's really not a wrong answer whatsoever when it comes to their studio albums. Like, each one you can pick and choose from. Of course, Hollow Movement, you have Casualty, you have Geocentric Confusion, Anatomy Anomalies, I think, and Cortical. Those are some good songs on this album. So, yeah. This is probably the best album with their previous vocalist. And this was when they were more like traditionally like technical death metal, but they were going in a more progressive direction with this album, and it's pretty good for the most part. So that's Intrinsic by the Contortionists. Next up we have Language. This is when Michael Lesser joined the band, and this is a phenomenal album in my opinion. There's a lot of good stuff on this album that I would recommend you check out. Stuff like Language 1, Intuition, and the second part, Conspire, I think are pretty good. You have Primordial Sound. You have Arise, which is kind of more death metal, technical death metal influenced, I guess, like what they originally were. And that's a pretty good. Ebb and Flow, and then of course the final track on here, The Parable. That's easily the best song on this album, in my opinion. I just love the groove of that song. I just love how unique it is, and the drum work's so good on it. This is when I really think that this band started to become really good, as opposed to just good. When they started getting really good as a band. So, that's Language by the Contortionists. And if you thought Language was a good album, here's their fourth album, Clairvoyant. Now, this is my favorite Contortionist album. This is such a phenomenal album in my opinion. I just listen to it and it's just great. I just like a lot of the songs on here. I don't think there's a weak song on this album. This is easily a 10 out of 10 album in my opinion. You got a lot of great songs on here. The two songs, Monochrome, Passive, and Pensive, those are good. You have the title track, which is absolutely phenomenal, I think. Godspeed, Absolve. You have Relapse, Reimagine, The Center, Return to Earth. I mean, like, I basically just said every track on this album because it's a 9-track album, and a lot of these songs are pretty long, like 6-7 minutes, but I like that. I like songs that are like 6 minutes because I think there's a lot to sink into in this album. Like, the musicianship is great on this album, I think. So, that's Clairvoyant by the Contortionists. And finally, we have their EP, Our Bones, which was released in 2019. Now, this is another great EP. I think this might have been the first thing I got from the first album I got from this band. Album, EP. It's an EP, not an album, of course. And it's because the first two songs, Follow and Early Grave, those two songs are excellent, in my opinion. Follow, like, it's just one of those songs that I just love at first listen, and then I just couldn't get enough of it. Early Grave is pretty much the same thing as well. And then the other two songs are good on here as well. 1979, which is a Smashing Pumpkins cover. That's a very unique take on that song, I think. Like, they made it like as unique as possible, so that's good. And that is Our Bones. And I hope the Contortionists can make another album in this year, 2021, because, you know, they're kind of overdue for an actual album. And I wonder if they're going to take any influence from this EP on it, because that would be interesting. Like, if we get another, like, Clairvoyant type album, that would be good too, because, of course, the Clairvoyant's excellent. But I don't know what's up with the Contortionists. Maybe they might make a new album this year, but who knows. So, that is my Contortionist CD collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we didn't have any focus problems in this video, so that's good, of course. And that's pretty much the CD collection. This is Scamp the Wolf signing out, and take care, everybody.